Hello everybody. I'm just kind of, looks like the dogs have been at my world again, as they do, as we all know. So today is Wednesday, I think. Yes, I think it's Wednesday. We did the middle rose ground yesterday, and today we're going to do the ground, the cloth stitch, and then the ground to the left. And see how far we get. I'm not in my most talkative mood today, can't explain it, but if you want to ask some questions, please do. I do feel kind of a bit silly talking to myself sometimes, so questions do help, and I want this to be entertaining for you. So if you have questions, if you have ideas, if you have anything at all that you want to ask, or suggestions on how I could make this more interesting, because I'm not quite sure how to make this more interesting, to be honest, but we can try, right? So because we've got many hours of this to go, so it's time, I think. That seemed a little bit abrupt, but there we go. So we have where we got to yesterday. Now, it's a little bit chaotic. So I have dug out these, which are bobbin holders, which I can use as well as cloths to segregate out some of the less desirables from the field. That's generally how that works. So I'm going to get back this cloth and place it over those, because we don't need those. And then we're going to take these and put them round the corner, because we will come to those later. And your corner pin. See, the problem is I don't want to lengthen them too much, but like this, you kind of want them 6 inches further away, really. So, let's see. Untangle you a little and see what's going on here. I need a poking device. There's my poking device. You. There we go. I need my pins. I've got enough pins for that. And you will be soon required, but not yet. So in fact, let me put you on here for the moment. It's not really enough bobbin for the bobbin holder, because as you'll soon see, they don't really hold the bobbins that well. But put them up there for a minute, and then we can undo you, which is under here, and extract the cloth stitch ones. And for some reason, you've come on. What the hell? Seriously? How have I run out of bobbin already? I really didn't expect that. That was not on my plan. How did I run out of that already? I mean, we did talk that this could happen. I really didn't expect it to be happening, well, before we even got halfway. That's a little bit of a shock, because I thought I'd been slightly generous with the amount per bobbin. So I'm just extracting my thing of cotton. Bear with me one moment. How in the name of mercy is that a thing? So, let's go nuts, because we know you've got to make it all the way around the square. A bobbin winder in case you're wondering what the noise is. What I don't have is something to put the cotton reel on while I do it. Scissors out. So its friends should run out soon because they should be roughly the same size. So potentially now is a really good opportunity to swap in the new bobbin load. So for example, I have now loaded it up a bit more. I really didn't expect that to happen. Wow, I must have really misjudged this. Now I feel really worried that they're all going to do it. Because that would be embarrassing. Shouldn't be. I mean, I did a reasonable chunk, she says, wanting to check. Yeah, I did a reasonable chunk. Most of them will probably be fine. It might be close, but most of them should be fine. We did know that these would be more of a challenge, but there's a challenge and then there's a challenge, right? So, what I need to do is you're across do that and put you out the way for the moment. Then get yet another pin. And I'm going to place it up here because I want it out the way as much as I can. And then we're going to join you. We're going to go around you because you do need to have, and we'll place you through a few pins so that you kind of come out in the right point. But you need to be the right side of the pins, thank you. You are now too long. Still too long. Now you're a bit short, of course. Right. So. And you are, let's check, we've got 3 there. 1, 2, 3. Yay! It all adds up. Right. pin. Need to find my pushing device. There it is, behind my drink. Turn the pillow. Push some of these edge pins down here. Make sure that we're not doing anything stupid. So we don't inadvertently pull up the wrong ones. Right. It's always funny how you look back and some of them are always stuck up and you're like, I pushed that down. How did that end up? Never mind. So, I had to check. Actually, you are not pinned. You. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And maybe not you, because it's actually one of you. You got tangled in the pins. Tangling of the pins is definitely one of the most infuriating parts. So I need you to, and for you to be out the way. Just checking. Now I need to put it in the hole at the top. Where did I put the pin? There it is. I do not need you yet. It was false alarm. You need to go way up here and don't have. There we go. Still swear that's wrong, even though we worked it out yesterday. Dogs doing strange things again. It's chucking it with rain again. Amy! They've been like this all day. It is infuriating. I'm not quite sure why they're being so excitable. Or more accurately, she's being so excitable. Amy! Amy! Because if someone was at our doorway, they'd ring the bell. Funny that. It's looking a bit crowded over there, is it not? This is why you want to rip all the pins out. This is why you want to... I mean, what technically I could do is push a lot more of these pins down and then try to extract them later. But when they're close to the work, it's quite easy to catch the threads and start causing problems, so I don't really want to do that. There we go, shouted at the dog a bit. Right. So. Really enough room to work with them at the moment, which is a little annoying. Right, that's you out of the way. We will add in the last bobbin because, well, we just will make life a bit easier. Cross it over. That puts us in the corner. Still a pin. Any pin will do. Right. Now, you can also sod off in the masses. Let's try some of these. Now, these are a great and glorious thing, but this elastic is not very tight. I mean, to give you an idea, it stretches well off screen, so it doesn't really pin them down very hard. So they can still very much escape and bunch up and twiddle and do twiddly things, but they do sometimes help. So we're going to do a bit of that. And already you have got caught on pins that were nothing to do with this. Thanking you for that. And we'll take another bunch. 2, 4, 6, 8. That's right, I was just checking, got at least pairs in a section. I mean, technically there's definitely room for a couple more, so I'll grab a couple more. But, as you can see, they do want to escape, and you can't really pick them up by it either. So let's chuck you... Never mind, let's chuck you over there. And, time to start work on this ground section. You are not of the ground section. You are of the ground section. And you have got your thread of escape. You are all wrapped around this pin. So I want to rescue you from that. That's fine. Now, let's have a look. So let's push you a little this way. It'll be a while. You're the first pair, so try and steal some of these more lurking pins at the back. Actually, let's be wise. Let's take out some of these pins and put them in my pin holder. I know it's slower, but it means I don't have to leap back there quite so much. Now, I don't want to go too far down here, because we have you as the raw edge. There was a pin there. Yes, Wolf. Back to pins. So, for a quick sip and that cushion's older than you. It has more right to be on my couch than you do. Keep putting my finger in the pot to get a pin and get one stuck somewhere underneath my thumbnail, down the side of my nail. Just generally poke myself with it. Seems to be a very easy way to pick up a pin. Just get stabbed by it. See, why is that lifting up? Shouldn't be. One moment. There we go. We had ruffled our dog bed and we were not able to be comfortable. So we needed to assist. And now, of course, we're not on the dog bed because I have shown attention. Ow. will do is take these two out of this one and put them in the end of this one because they go together. There you go. Right. You need to be a bit longer. Amazing how good I am at picking up 2 pins and then really struggle to make it 1 pin. One thing I don't like about it is when you work, the more off centre you work, the more you feel the tension is going to be wrong. So let's see if we can't move you round just a bit more. Right, time to push down some more pins. This time we're going to turn the table this way slightly. I'll try and pick up some of the unnecessary ones. If I do my left hand thing, so I'm doing a bit better. So that's that one. And then there's you. Right. Push those down. And we will take out all of you. Because now you aren't needed. This is not the common way to do it. Obviously normally you steal pins from before, but when you've got cloths over them and 53 piles of bobbins, it's harder to get your fingers in and get at the stupid pins, which are small and escapable. Leave you for now, but a couple of extras there we can take out. There. Looking fairly neat. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see that looks a little bit weird there. Not quite sure why. Not to worry about the extra threads, but if we look down a little bit, we can see now that we've got this rose ground section that looks pretty neat and tidy. No blatantly screaming errors at this stage. And then we've got the ground section here, and obviously the ones we've just done. So, arguably it's time for more bobbins. But this is the least enjoyable portion of the section. She says, wondering where her pile of bobbins went. There they are. So, we can undo you now. You can come out. We don't really need you. We will do something with you later. Make you a bit shorter because you're in the way. So, let's scrape you, and as many as you as we can, around here. And how many can we fit on a... We need 2 pairs. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7's probably a bit much. See, only 6 pairs. When you've got, 50 odd pairs, these things don't go very far. Actually, there is room for 2 more. You can fit on there, alright. So, the elastic is so slack that they will just try and run away. So, let's see, now you're slightly confined by the shortest thread, and they've all bunched up. Of course they have. So, let's extract these. Adds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. caught in whole piles of pins just to be irritating. There we go. You are not part of this section. And you're all pretty short. So let's undo you briefly and make you all a bit longer. Take you, and you're the wrong way up. Take you, pull the end. There you go. Oh, well, just isn't that swell? The knot came undone. Let's try that again. For some reason, you must have, I was going to say you caught on something, didn't you? What are you catching on? You. For some reason, you have done stupid things. So let's tighten you up a little bit. There we go. See if that helps. There. No, we caught on somebody else. They're all at it. Oh, you're really short as well. You've had an easy life. I did all of them about 2 metres. This is going to be a nightmare. I did this with plenty. This is not a good sign, guys. This is definitely not a good sign. Because I don't want to put too much cotton on, because obviously I don't want a knot at the start. No, Rory, you can't help. Seriously, you cannot help with this. But I don't want to put too much cotton on, because we don't want knots at the start. Therefore, we don't want to be throwing away too much. But at the same time, don't really want to be constantly having to stop and start and add more stuff to bobbins, really. Oops. So, Rory, I said get out of it. It'll not be better with doggy assistance. No, it won't. So, but what I will do for now is wind this on with a very short tail, because we're not going to use it yet. Not just yet. And wind you back on as Wasn't that a palaver? And then we can curl you round the side and out of the way, and maybe move you a little more, and you some more, and reveal yet another group of bobbins. See, most of them look fine. Maybe I did do some just way shorter than I thought I did. But I don't think so. Could have sworn I made them all about 2 metres, which should have been plenty for 99% of these bobbins. So let's put you underneath. Out the other end. And you can try and get on top of you. And there's you. And some of you. See, there are just too many bobbins. Let me zoom out on this. There are just way too many bobbins. In fact, that's not really a good view of that. Let me find the right screen for that. That one? Or that one? That one. For some reason, it's not doing my transition. I wonder why not. Oh, whatevs. As you can see, we have a lot of bobbins. This is vexing. Anyway, we will now. Why are you an odd number? Which makes me think you're an odd number. Come back, you. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. No. But what you should be over here somewhere. So, did I count right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did. One of you's got an odd number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's you. So, cloths down, you to the side. I mean, they don't have to be done in pairs, but obviously it's a bit more logical if they are. So, you need you to make up your pair, and you get chunked round, which means you can go in here, which makes your pair good, and you can go round the corner and up the hill a little bit. You come round. Now, what bit are we going to do next? Do we add more bobbins, or do we do the cloth stitch bridge before the end? Because we are getting very close to the bottom of this triangle. It's Wednesday. Yeah, we're getting... It's looking good that we could finish this part of the triangle before the weekend. Ouch! headbutted the light. It's definitely not the thing you wanted to do. So let's have a look. We don't need U4 for the minute. No, that's not right. We didn't want to do that. No, that's right. As long as you are twisted. You can go away again for a minute. Let's twist the pillow a little bit. Give me a bit more working room. But then the tension gets applied in slightly the wrong angle. 2, 3, 4, 5, and the working pair. We are in the corner. No, I haven't printed out my counts yet. But 6 is the magic number, because we lose one here, and then we go straight back and we gain another one. And then we do 6, 5, 6, 5 all the way across. So, we have the right number, people. People often say weaving's about mathematics. Weaving itself really isn't, much like lacework isn't, but there is counting. And so, while technically counting is mathematics, it's not like you're doing really complicated trigonometry here. We are talking junior school, so that's like 5, well, I won't say 5 to 7, that's infants, but sort of 7 to 10 kind of range. And it is very simple multiplication and, you know, counting. It's not a mathematically based thing. And so, for example, in weaving, you want to know, you know that you know your threads require. I mean, when we looked up this said that it was something like 27 threads per centimetre. Now, as we explained before, for the cloth stick sections, for example, we then know we need 13.5 passive threads and 13.5 crossing threads to fill the gap very solidly. Now, obviously, slightly lighter makes it a little bit more flexible and all the rest of it. So we'll go with, say, 12, 13. So if you say 12, because 12 is a good number, and you wanted to do 12 inches, well, then you need 144 now, don't you? Because, well, it's your multiplication tables. If you've got 12 per centimetre and you need 12 centimetres of it, then it's 144. It's that kind of maths. It's not anything more than that to work out. So it is not as bad as it could be, but it is still counting and potentially using a calculator, because, well, yeah, that is really truly a thing. Could have sworn I had one in my hand then. I had one under my nail at least. That's the wrong end. I'm trying to shove the blunt end in. So I was just checking something. See, all this thread that's bunched up here makes it much harder to unwind it because it gets stuck around lower portions and then doesn't want to come undone. For some reason that feels wrong, and the answer is because it possibly is. No, it was right. Overthinking it, as always. Hang on. You are a cast out. One, two, three, four. Forgot to add one. What's it look odd? Seriously. You'd laugh if you could see me trying to pick these bends up. You may not be the bobbin I need. No, you're the bobbin I need. You are later bobbins. You can get back in the hole. Let's work out who the next two are. Hopefully it's some of you, but I'm not so sure it is. Let's move you around a bit. So, let's have a look. You are from here, but you look somewhat twisted, unnecessarily so. That's better. You then need twisting. You two are next. Need twisting. And you are very much later, bobbins. So, you are the next set of bobbins. So we're here. Oh, come on, hole. Not sure I pricked that hole. Hello, welcome. Welcome to my chaos. Do you have any questions? she says, struggling to find the hole. I swear I didn't prick some of these holes. So if you have any questions or whatever, do ask. Doesn't help that I'm watching the cushion and the pillows and the many tiny pins. What are the small bats? These are called bobbins. So as part of lace bobbin making, it works. Or do you mean these? The things with the elastic? Or the things that I'm throwing around? Because they both look a little bit like bats, to be honest. The throwing around ones, they're called bobbins, hence the name lace bobbin making, and their sole purpose is to hold the threads so that you're not just having this big spaghetti pile of threads while you twist and turn them. If I zoom in a lot and down a little bit, you can see that, for example, let me put my pin in because there's a lot of pins and these are tiny, stupid, thin pins. So if I put my pins in, every lace move is made of, well, every lace stitch is made of basically two moves. One is the cross, so this is the cross, and this going right over left is a twist. But the bobbins help you not end up with a big pile of spaghetti, because if you've ever tried, if you've braided really long hair, if you're doing a 3-strand plait, the hair below where you're working tries to tangle. So you wind the yarn round the bobbin so that I'm female, so I would be madam, although I really don't care. It is not a problem what you call me, to be honest. But I am Liz, so you can call me anything you like. Liz is good. So this is a very old pastime. It's been handed down. It is, frankly, purely for decoration. Lace does not truly have, unlike knitting where you make a jumper, or crochet or where you can make jumpers, blankets and stuff, lace is almost 100% decorative because it doesn't keep you warm. It does, it can be a tablecloth and a mat and a coaster, or a bookmark, but it's not really a functional thing. So it was done, and it was, because it's really slow to do, it was always expensive. And posh people in the past paid poorer people in the past to make them lots of fanciness, and so that they could claim, they could show off their wealth by having all the fancies, right? Now, obviously, in today's society, lace is a form of art, and but it is one of those. It's not. I won't say art is functional, because to an extent art isn't 100% functional. But for example, a sculpture could arguably be functional if done in the right way. You can have sculptured chairs. You can have sculptured table legs. Lace is purely for decoration. Now, this piece, which is the first corner, first part of the triangle, so what you can't see too well, and let me zoom out again, is underneath this rather monumental pile of bobbins here at the moment, is, if I go back, you can see the edge here where the dots finish round about here. This triangle bit we have already done. And I am working down to this corner, at which point we turn the work and we do down this side. So there is a lot to go. I need to make 21 of these squares potentially. There's going to be a lot of them, and it's going to be quite a lot of repetition, but we're planning to make a net curtain with them. Now, it is not going to be the best net curtain in living history, because there will be the joins, because obviously I'm making it out of squares. But it is my plan. I kind of wanted to make it all in one go, but as you can already see, I am making what is arguably a 6-inch square, and I have a monumental pile of bobbins, and there's actually 5 more pairs of bobbins to go on here yet, and I'm frankly out of room. So doing it in one piece is not really ideal in this manner. Now, I have ordered a different style of cushion, which is a bolster cushion, which is round, much like the bolster cushions you can buy for your bed and your couch, except it's made more like a punch bag, because it's really quite solid. It's made usually full of sawdust or wood chippings. Now, it will be big enough for me to make one in one piece. And so, in about a year's time, which is my current estimation of timescale, I will be in a position to try making one in one piece. But I would not necessarily use the same style of lace that I'm doing now in an all-in-one. Just because, well, if it's best part of 98, I think we worked it out as it's 98 bobbins or something to make this 6-inch square, and bear in mind you only really make half, so it's only half the width at its widest point. So that's nearly 200 for a 6-inch square. Well, if you need 3 of them, that's 600 bobbins, and frankly, I ain't got that much money. Bobbins are not cheap. If you go on eBay, these bobbins are reasonably cheap. These are what I would call acceptably priced, in that they're less. I'm British, so these are around £1 or so a bobbin. Now, that's still a lot of money if you had to fork out 600 bobbins. If you go on eBay, you'll find some people asking £30 for a single bobbin. Now, it is a pretty bobbin, but to be honest, prettiness is not important. Function is important, and most of them have spangles, and I have learnt I hate spangles. For your education, these bobbins are just wooden chunks looking remarkably like bats, as you pointed out. You get thinner ones, she says, looking at her table. I've got one. Yay, I didn't put them all away. Now, this is not a good example, but this is the style of bobbin, and instead of, because it's not glass, it's heavier plastic, but instead of where there's like this figurehead on the bottom, they usually plastic or wood, and you have a big loop of wire with beads on it. Now, some of the ones that I've got, which I bought pre-done because it was someone else's cast off, the bobbins were nearly 2 or 3 times. Sorry, the spangle was nearly 3 times the width of the bobbin. Well, that created a problem because when you're moving them around, they catch on each other. And this was much source of frustration and, frankly, a lot of swearing because, well, I do that. People say, oh, you have a lot of patience. No, I don't. I have no patience. I am not a patient person. I'm stubborn, but I am not patient. And so Spangles and I had to go, which is why for the first few streams it looked a bit different because this paper was green, which was a bit more of a traditional colour because usually it's light blue or green, but the white didn't really show up very well. So like this, even as a zoomed out kind of picture, you can see the outlines of where I'm at. On the green you couldn't, and when I zoomed in it couldn't really differentiate between the white and the green very well, and it just didn't show up well. Whereas obviously if I zoom in now, you can see the individual stitches. So if I uncover this patch a little bit, you can see I've unpinned quite a bit of it, but you can see, I mean I can't zoom in anymore, but you can see that I've got the little square shapes with the holes in them, and then I've got the ground stitch, and then I've got this rather solid cloth stitch. So you can see what is going on. This was really hard to see with, and I'm not so sure it's that well focused, but there you go, that looks a little bit better. But it was hard for everyone to see, and it was quite frustrating because obviously I've done streaming in the past, but I streamed games, and when you stream games you're constantly looking at your monitor, you're constantly looking at chat, you've got everything in front of you. I'm looking at this, so I can't look at my stream, which is kind of over there, so I've had to buy a few extra bits to help me with this because I can't really play with my keyboard so much because, well, it's almost out of arm's reach because I've got to have pins and sticks and pokey things and other things, and I've had to have a ring light so that you'd be able to see what I was doing. I tried my normal webcam thing that came with my work computer, and it was terrible. So I dug out my posh camera, which is a Canon EOS 600D, but the batteries only lasted an hour, which was shocking because, well, that's not very long. And it meant that obviously throughout each time I did some streaming, I was having to get up and faff with the camera, and it was not ideal. So I had to get a thing that means that it's permanently kind of plugged in, and it thinks it's got a battery, but actually it doesn't. And so I've had to kind of do a whole load of different things I'd not really given a lot of consideration to. And of course, one of the other problems is when you're gaming, well, there's things to talk about. Cross and twist. That's too much table, if you ask me. Too much table. Trouble, I think, is the word you were after. Yes. Yes, I very much agree with that. It was far from ideal. Far from ideal. But my primary reason for doing this is so random people like you can come along and see what I'm doing and ask some questions, and there will be some interludes because I'm pretty sure that if I've got 21 of these squares to do, I will get a bit bored. It's alright, I understand. It's 9:30 here, it's 10:30 in Europe, so if you're in Europe it's probably a bit late. 2, 3, 4, 5. So, you never have to worry about being sleepy, tired, grumpy. I am an understanding person. I have to be. You need to meet the people I work with and then you'd understand. So, and I need one more, which is you with any luck. Yep. So yes. So I am dyslexic, so occasionally my brain will see a proper word and it will kind of have a bit of a brain fart. But worry not, we get there in the end. So yes, I'm trying to stream every day at the moment because, well, I want to get on with this. Because if I've got 21 of them, it ain't going to get done if I'm not doing it, frankly. So we are very much trying to get on with it. One, two, three, four, five. I count them so that I don't, to reduce the mistakes of, because talking is a good thing, and believe me, I live alone, so I don't do a lot of talking as a general rule. But it is a problem that you can distract yourself, and then mistakes happen, and there will be mistakes in it. That's pretty much a guarantee. No matter how hard I try, I'm bound to stuff something up. But the plan is to try not to. So I am doing some countings. A couple of days ago, we had a lot of fun on stream because, as you saw, I was counting that there were 5 pairs and the pair that I was moving across. The problem is as it zigzags through the work, it is not always 5 pairs. Because when you get to because it's actually 6 pairs, well, 6 pairs in total, like this, and then at this pin, when it was these pins, you do work the first pair and take them out. Well, now it's 5 pairs. And when it gets to the other side, it gains a pair. So you end up with I ended up with this really complicated, thing with loads of dots on it representing the pins for the edges and numbers and counting and having to do. So, for example, when I come to this side, I'll have 6 pins, so there'll be 6 and a P for pin, and then you take one away, so that when you get to the other side, you add one, and there'll be 6 and a pin, and you're like, yeah, it can be very confusing. Now, I'm done with you lot, and I am looking at the monumental pile of bobbins that I now have, so I am going to trap you few in my bobbin holder because you work together. Now the bobbin holders are a little... Mistakes definitely make us human, and it is one of the few things that segregates us from computers. Now obviously you do get mistakes in computer runs, usually when threads break or whatever, and a human has not noticed and the run continued. But as a whole, computers don't make the same kind of mistakes that we do. They are more sensor failures and whatever that then turns into. So, for example, formerly in my role at my current job, I used to do the backups, and it meant I had to change a lot of tapes. And every Monday, I would go and sit in front of this tape unit. And this tape unit had, I won't call it a mesh, but like a sheet of metal on the front with holes on it that made it look a little bit like bubble wrap. Only the machine that had done the stamping to put the holes in obviously wasn't quite lined up for one of them. And so there was like this flaw, and once you'd seen it, I spent nearly 12 years staring at that flaw every Monday, because every time I sat there, it's all I could look at. There wasn't a lot else to look at in there, to be honest, because the tape unit was doing its whizzy thing and spitting tapes out behind a black door that you say you couldn't watch it. And so there wasn't a lot to watch. and it was kind of cold, and it was boring and noisy with all the fans, and so it was not one of the most fun parts of a job, but it's a very necessary part of a job, but it doesn't make it fun. And so, you know, I would have liked to be doing other things, that's for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I try and keep pairs of bobbins together on there, because that way I know that all the, you know, the bobbins I reach for are in pairs. So I'm going to try and trap you in there, like that. Oh, that was my... Oh no, I have got one more. I thought I had one more. And I'm going to trap a bunch of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I've got 8 and only really room for 7. Never mind, you're gonna fit anyway. This elastic's not very strong, and it doesn't hold the bobbins very well, in my humble opinion. But what I want to do is I can now slide these round and kind of pile them on top, and I can slide these round and kind of angle them on top, and then pull out these, which are the next ones. Well, this is it. It is not uncommon to be doing a job that is not your first choice. And as you say, you do the job because you need a job, you need the money, you need to feed yourself, clothe yourself and live somewhere. This was less of the choice, because the job that I was employed for was one that it's not that I didn't enjoy it. It was not what I applied to do, so it wasn't on the list of... It wasn't on my job spec when I signed up. I never actually formally agreed to do it as part of my job, but it was the, oh, so-and-so's leaving, can you do it until the bloke comes along who's going to take his job? Yeah, okay. So about 6 months later, new bloke starts. I'm not doing that, says the man who was employed to do it. I'm sorry, what? Okay. So I had to keep doing it. Well, the person employed to do it refused, and you're kind of going, I wish I got to refuse to do stuff I was employed for. I mean, there's a bit of a difference of, can you do this thing you're not employed to do? I'd rather not. And you were specifically employed to do this, I'm not doing it, day one. I mean, I probably wouldn't get past my probation if I did that. So, let me see. We do need to discard at this corner. So you are done. Put you out the way. So yes, it is. It was just unfortunate that it meant that for many, many, many years, I got stuck doing the backups, and it was, well, as I say, wasn't the first choice of me. You know, it wasn't what I wanted to do in life. But I still did it as best I could. Because, well, that's the deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I did. In fact, I only got out of it by escaping to go into a completely different department. And then they employed someone else to do that job, and I was back where I started. But they didn't make me do backups, so I was cool with that. You're a bit long. And that's because you're that. Now this is going to be interesting. How am I going to do with this? So, for some reason, I put about 2 meters worth of thread on every bobbin, or so I thought. Apparently not. And well, I've already had some bobbins run out, as you can tell. This is the end. This is the entire thread for the bobbin. So I have wound more on said bobbin, but you don't knot them on. No, we don't knot, darling. Which is frankly quite annoying because knots would be so much easier. We have to use pins and prayers, frankly. And it is pins and prayers. So let me undo this because I now need... And these bobbins are slightly less than ideal in the simple grounds that they're tapered. This bit here, where the yarn is wound on, is actually tapered. And as a result of being tapered, the yarn can slide down towards the working end, so towards this end, and it becomes a loose, tangled mess of crap. And this does not make happy people. But these bobbins are much better than the spangled bobbins, so we're happy because, well, we've worked up a much quicker head of steam than we did with the spangles, because we spent a lot of time swearing about spangles. Pretty much every time I moved a bobbin, I think, was the approximate hatage of spangle. So let me put you in here. Now, ideally, I really want you over here, underneath this monumental pile of bobbins. You can go over there, and then you can come down and round to be where this used to be. You can stay down here for a minute. So, what I normally do is, you're going to be coming across. So, because you're the trailing bobbin, I'm going to go over, under. So now I can go take you, that gets you over there, and now we need to do the same with you. Now I need to check that this is right, because obviously I don't have its friend to work with. You're a little bit long. Right. So you need to go. I need to peer. You went under that one. So if you're under that one, you're over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Like that. There we go. And you get to sail off into the distance, and I will put you up here out of the way so I don't see you and so you don't annoy me. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we need to pick up an extra pair of bobbins, and hopefully it's you two, and it is. Excellent. We love it when everything works out. Right, that sorted that mess out. And I saw you do that. Cheat. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is cool. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, to a lot of people, lacework looks a bit like voodoo at the best of times. And, you know, back in the 1600s, women who took very fine threads, because bear in mind, someone would have had to have spun the threads. Now, I can do spinning as well. I do many wool-related activities. But I did not make this just for clarity. I bought this stuff. It comes on a spool that I bought off a shop because I'm lazy. But back in the day, you know, you would have spun this, or you'd have bought the thread off somebody else who spun it, and you'd have sat, you know, I could have been the poor working class lady sitting there making this for the local toff. And then they wonder why people were called witches. Think about it. You know, if you think of a lot of this style of craft where it is, you do not do a single knot. You really don't. No knots. Knots are bad. Yet it stays together. Well, there's voodoo for starters. And it is that principle. It is witchcraft. Well, if you'd said to them that people the other side of the world can have a real-time conversation, that I can show you what I'm making real-time, witches would have been the least of their worries. You'd have been Satan personified. You know, I love the fact that even when I was a kid, I had a pen pal, and she was in America, and it would take 7 days to get there and 7 days to get back, and that was normal. When I was a kid, you sent off for something and it was 28 days for delivery. None of this overnight crap from Amazon. God, no. Half the time you've forgotten you ordered it. Because it took a week to get there, 28 days for delivery, you know. It was terrible. So yes, it is funny how the world has changed so much. So whereabouts are you from? Actually, one of the most surprising things about this is how easy it is. Oh, the near the Himalayas. Oh, it's getting colder. Must be kind of interesting there. And I think that's one of the other things about how the internet is really quite interesting, is how we as humans, we're so used to our own lives and what's normal, around us, that we forget how different things can be in other places. And they don't have to be ridiculously far away. I mean, okay, you're not next door, but, it is that, sort of like life halfway up a mountain kind of thing, right? People picture the monks up a mountain. And of course, life's not necessarily monks up a mountain. But, it is I'm in England, and I live near the edge of a town. So, technically I'm in a little village, sort of on the west side of England. But my old house, which is only a mile from here, was very much slap bang in the middle of everything. Behind my back garden, which was the shortest garden in living history, I swear. I promise you, if I sneezed sitting on my back doorstep, it probably could coat my back fence. It really was very short. I'm talking 10 metres, maybe. It really wasn't much more than that. And the other side of the fence was a major road. And so that house was very noisy. The constant stream of cars, morning, noon and night, it meant that during the summer, when it was too hot and you had to sleep with the window open, because we're British, we don't do air conditioning, all you could hear all night, if you were having a, slightly less restful night, was this constant procession of cars outside. And it just wasn't fun. And, well, not that it's ever fun, but it just made it so frustrating, because some idiot would try and break the land speed record behind your house, and he wasn't going to make it because we were between two roundabouts, and there wasn't a lot of space, between these two roundabouts. It was probably 200-300 yards, not even that, probably. But let's say 400 yards for the kindness of it. But it really wasn't a lot. So you can accelerate as fast as you like. It's only a 40-mile-an-hour zone, but you're going to have to slow down again in a minute, because it's not one of those patch of paint roundabouts. It's got like curbs and everything, and if you hit it, it goes really badly. And obviously you got a few people who got to the first roundabout at speed, kind of got it wrong, and then crashed into the bus stop that was behind my house. They did that a few times over the years. But it was just always, constant noise, constant problems. And the house that I lived in was unfortunately situated in that there was a house to the right of me, not too surprisingly, and a house in front of me, which was technically my left-hand neighbour, but because I was shoved in the corner. But what it meant was that the sun rised behind the house in front of me, moved around, had about half an hour where it could shine on the front of my house before disappearing behind the house to the side of me, which it then obviously did for a bit over, around lunchtime, because midday's never directly above you. And then immediately behind the kind of 60 to 80 foot trees at the end of the garden, which, as I said, was about 10 metres away. So the trees were really imposing. And I called council man, and because they're council trees, because they're not in my garden. And I kind of went, I need you to come and cut them. Oh, I need to come and see. And he walked out my garden and went, fuck me. And it was like, yeah, they are a bit. And so he beautifully did do what he promised, and he chopped them down. And lots of people asked me how I got that done, and it was like, well, I asked him. And then he got a few more requests. But I found living in that house quite kind of depressing, because it was constantly noisy. You constantly had to have lights on to see, to do anything, even on a really bright sunny day. So that house was very much less than ideal. And when my dad died, I bought this one, which, as I say, it's only a mile from the last one. And behind me is a field. And while Farmer Joe occasionally takes his very heavy machinery through there at awkward times of the day, usually when you're on a man, this house is brighter, lighter, nicer, and just frankly everything better. And I've been here 6 years now, and I still wake up and go, I love this house. It's kind of everything I ever wanted in a house near the country. It's now, I will point out, technically I am near the motorway, and you can hear it from this house, but it sounds more like a waterfall. You hear this kind of shh. Oh my goodness, 2:20. Oh, please go and get some sleep. But it's been so nice to see you. I do try and stream every day because, as I say, I want to get this done. So I should be here tomorrow, unless my internet dies. But please sleep well. And thank you so much for coming. Nice to have someone to talk to. To bunch you up a little bit. Scrape you onto a stick. Stick. It's a stick. It's a stick. It's a stick. Oops, somehow I've gone under the pan. That was not a good plan, was it? Right, I want all of you. Let's try that again. I need all of you on the stick, please. Thank you. Try and be a little bit more organised. Thank you very much. That included you. Stickity stick, stickity stick, 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 stick. Right. You can then be in the mound over there a little bit. And you need to be so much longer. And you. Bin. Might have to buy some more of these sticks. You are looking jumbled. I think I need to take you out momentarily and look and see what is going on, because you seem jumbled. Now, let's take you and put you gently on top for the moment so you're out of the way. You're in the right place. Swing you round. Take you out. No, I can't. Actually, I should be able to take you out now. Leave you out of the way. So, let's have a look. Now. There. That looks better. You. And you. You should be crossed. You. You. And you. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5. We go. We only need 2 more. Yes, these bobbin holders are great, but they almost need to be 2 stuck together so that you clamp the bobbins between them. That would be quite nice, but then I'd need an awful lot more of them. But that would make, so what you'd do is instead of it having the piece of elastic that goes over the top of the bobbins and slips through the other end, what you'd do is you'd have them kind of go bareback together and have the tiniest bit of elastic that pins them together or something the other end, so that they clamp them together and that they're pinned between 2 boards rather than one, and the weediest bit of elastic known that mankind has ever made. So I might have to buy more. Let's bring you back down so I don't get you muddled. Pin, please. And now we're at the corner. So, my dear friends, what should I do? Well, I think here is the perfect opportunity to not make stupid mistakes. And because we are now at the patch where we would add more bobbins, she says trying to extract some of these threads out from under the bins so that you can have a better look. As you can see, we have finished this cloth stitch bit, done this ground bit here, we've done this cross stitch bit across the bottom and this one. Now, that's not a lot, but tomorrow we've got 5 pairs of bobbins to add here, which we will work across. We can do a cloth stitch down. We've then got a bit of rose ground to do, cross stitch and that. Now, I doubt we will necessarily get that all done tomorrow, but we will certainly have completed it during Friday's stream. So we are looking to have done most of the triangle this week, and that gives hope. A square a month. No, that makes it 2 years. Let's not think of it like that. that really would be quite depressing, wouldn't it? A square a month, and we need potentially 21. It's 18 or 21. So Alexa, how many inches in 97 centimetres?
97 centimetres is about 38.2 inches.
So that's 38.2, which... Alexa, what's 38 divided by 6? Because I'm lazy.
38 divided by 6 is approximately 6.3333.
So it is between 6 and 7, because obviously we've got to do something fancier at the top. So 6, so it might only be 18, but that's like 18 months. That's a really long time. So let's not dwell on that one too much. Let's put my bobbins back in their shackles. Now I kind of want to keep these together because they are the cloth stitch set. So you go in there, which means you go in here, but there aren't many of you, but that's fine for now. We can handle that. We will pin you around like that, swing you round and up, because we won't be needing you. We will spin you round and kind of trap you underneath slightly. You see, you've escaped out the bottom, which is what they do really well, and we'll spin them round. And you've already tried to mate with some of the pins, thank you very much. And we'll stack you up like that, because we don't need you. Get them all sorted for tomorrow. Stackety stack. Definitely need to order some more of these, but for some reason people in the UK just don't sell them. I have to buy them off Etsy, off weird places, so they won't come in a hurry. And now we need to unmate these from the many pins of matingness that it's decided is a plan. Like that. Scrunch them back down. And put my finger on top as they go round. And you will be the ones of choice for the morning. Well, for the tomorrow evening, because we will be adding to you. So you are the plan. Everything's ready. I shall put down my cloth at the bottom here, because I can. And cloth on top of the pile of bobbins we don't need for now, because, well, we can try and pretend that they're not there for a bit to cut down the anxiety of bobbins. Well, I know what I needed to do. I need to take a picture. Should have done that before I moved all my bobbins, really, shouldn't I? Let's see if I can extract enough of this to take a bit of a picture through the many threads of doom here down the bottom, which are trying very hard to be annoying. Where's my phone? There it is. Underneath yet another cloth. So let's push you back a bit and stay back. So, take your picture. There we go. We have picture. And we shall see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me today. I shall upload this to YouTube and do all the usual things with it, and I shall see you tomorrow. As I said, tomorrow we will try and make a concerted effort, because the blocks are a bit smaller. There is a chance we will complete the triangle tomorrow, It depends how much of a run we get at it. Depends on the will of my internet, shall we say. But we shall see how we go. But it's been great speaking to you today. Hopefully, I shall see some more of you tomorrow. Bye.